So, instead of you getting a spring favorites video and a summer favorites video, what you're getting right now is just a really, really long warm months favorites video. So, all I really have to say about that is buckle up. And without any further ado, here are my favorite things from the past, 6 months. So my younger brother had been watching Scott the Woz, a ton last year and had been referencing him and all that stuff to me. And I eventually caved and actually watched one of his videos when his, Christmas special came out last December. But then I didn't really watch any of his other videos until spring rolled around. And I'm so glad I did, because I've been watching, gaming commentary related videos for, forever. But, he does it in such a specific way that I'm just like, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. This is the peak of good gaming commentary comedy videos. So now he's a huge inspiration to me, because I'm just like, I want to make that. I know I won't be able to, but I want to make videos that are as cool and as informative as his videos are. This is not one of them. If the words comedy, game analysis, and Nintendo mean anything to you, then I'm sure you will really, really enjoy his channel. So I suggest that you check it out, because I had heard no one talk about him till my little brother marathoned every single video he made, and now I'm well on my way to marathoning every single video he's ever made, and I think you should too, because he's sharing actually cool and important, it's Nintendo, is it really important? Cool, interesting information, and it's also funny, so it's not just reading a PowerPoint, it's reading a very funny PowerPoint narrated by a very funny person. So if that's the kind of gaming analysis video that you're into, Scott the Woz. So I finally finished watching the last season, my favorite TV show, and I don't know what to do with myself. I was conflicted during the final season on whether I would actually be I loved the final season, but the longer it's been since I watched it, the more I'm no, the whole show, final season, every episode, every season, perfect, 10 out of 10. So good. And yes, I know that the final season came out in January, but it wasn't a winter favorite for me because I didn't watch it until March or something. I don't know why. I just wasn't watching TV shows at that time. But when I finally did sit down and watch it, I marathoned it, and I don't know what to say without spoiling the show. But just basically, Chase Stefano, still favorite character of all time, but also, have you met Graham? Because big approve. Great character. Love his character. He's great. He's in that season and he's great. I'm just sad that the show is over, but I'll just keep rewatching it. I like the ending enough. I'm not mad. I'm just in denial that it's over. I'm mad that it's over, but I'm not mad that it happened. That's what's happening. But yes, I don't think any TV show will ever be able to top this TV show. I really do think that it's my favorite TV show, and I might have said that before, or I might have praised a TV show before, but forget about anything I've ever said is a great TV show. This is literally the only TV show that I will endorse from here on out, so sorry about that. Okay, so I just lied to you, because I have actually been watching more TV shows recently. But again, didn't fully lie to you. Carmen Sandiego is still my favorite TV show, but have you ever heard of anime? So over the past month or so, Jade, Craig, and I have all banded together and started an anime watching group, and the first anime that Jade started making us watch was an anime called Balance Unlimited, which I had literally never heard of until she brought it up and made us start watching it, and it is so many of my things. It's about detectives, so of course I liked it. But it's also about Haru Kato and Daisuke Kanbei. Two perfect characters. 10 out of 10 would recommend them. Haru, the best. Daisuke, close second. I just love my two tall detective dudes, and like their dynamic is so good. I just want all of it. And unfortunately, the show is only like 11 episodes long, so I only got 11 episodes worth of their dynamic, and so what the show actually is it's a police detective drama where two different characters end up having to work together, even though their approach to all of their assignments is very different, we'll say. But it makes for great character shenanigans. And then eventually, there's also great plot. But there's also only 11 episodes of it. So, if they ever wanted to just make another whole season that's just like no plot, I mean, the plot in this season was very good, but it's very self-contained. But if they just wanted to make another season, just out of the blue, where it's just character shenanigans for a whole another season, I would watch it. I would pay for that. So, get on it, anime people. Make me another season of Balance Unlimited. This show has such good music in it. Like, there's good music just like throughout each of the episodes. You know, it's very vibey, like police detective drama, dramatic intrigue type of music. But like, also, the intro and the outro for this show, like visuals and lyrics and music and everything is just, they're so good. Like, I don't think I've ever watched an anime where I'm like, oh, stinky bad poo poo, bad music sounds bad. But like, there are a few where I'm like, this is the peak of anime music. And this is one of those shows where the intro and the outro are just so good all around. So, if you don't want to watch the show, which like, why would you not want to watch the show? It's a perfect show. At least listen to the intro and the outro songs, because they have my very excited seal of approval. So like I said, I love Daisuke and Haru, but I also love other characters in the show, and specifically that's the basement crew, because if you have any hatred toward the basement crew, I will mess you up immediately. But also Hoshino, I think he's cool. And then also that boy on the train from that episode about the boy on the train. And I think if you're a fan of Ace Attorney and you're a fan of the Netflix Carmen Sandiego show, then this would definitely be an anime that I would highly recommend you watch, because you'll probably like it. The current anime that the Anime Squad is watching is My Hero Academia, but we're only 2 seasons in. So I think there's like supposed to be 5 seasons of the show currently. I don't know. But we watched the first 2 seasons, and I'm very glad that we did, because of one character. There's one reason I'm glad I'm watching this show. And he goes by the name of Bakugo. I won't shut up about him, to the point that my brother is now extremely annoyed at me and hates Bakugo. And I made a bunch of memes that are about me whenever I see Bakugo, and I think they're very funny, but the funniest one wasn't made by me. It was made by my little brother, and it is this meme right here. And sorry, it's an inside joke that you may or may not understand, but like, it's literally the funniest thing that my brother has ever done, is make this meme. So you need to appreciate and understand that it is a masterpiece work of meme art that you are witnessing right now. I also really like Todoroki, because him and Bakugo are my 2 powerful ambition boys, and that's a great kind of boy. Big fan. So, top favorite characters, but I also really do like all of the other students, and I just want them all to be happy and excel and become heroes, and not be stressed out about things they shouldn't need to be stressed out about, like villains trying to kill them while they're at school, you know, normal school things. I rewatched this at like the beginning of spring, and ooh, it's a good movie. Ooh, I love this movie. It's about a bunch of high school juniors, I think they're juniors, at a boarding school. It's a bunch of boys at boarding school, and they're learning through their brand new English teacher, Robin Williams, or Mr. Keating, that, like, they should go dream and aspire to things and live extraordinary lives, and I'm just like, yes. Go do that. Go sit in a cave and be silly and read poetry. There's parts of the movie where I'm like, yes, happy, fun, but then there's also parts of the movie that, like, stress me out a lot. But, like, it's a healthy mix of I'm stressed out and I'm happy. Neil is my favorite character in the whole movie. His actor's so good, and I just want to protect my little theater boy. Just want him to be happy and do theater. I love how this movie looks locationally. Like, I would love if my school looked like some dark academia campus. It really doesn't, but, like, isn't that the dream for everyone? To just go to a school that just looks dramatic? I want to go to a dramatic school. If you know a dramatic school that I should go to, tell me about it and have them accept me, and I will go attend that school and learn about pretentious things. The acting in this movie is so good, and, like, if there is, like, a printed bound version of the screenplay somewhere out there, or if they make one someday, I need it, because this is a near future science movie that's about DNA and genetics, and it's actually another rewatch, because I watched this first back in high school. I think for one of my classes it was like a required movie that we had to watch for some reason, but I remembered really liking it back then, so I was like, I should rewatch it and see if I was just, like, crazy. But I'm not. It's actually a very good... If current me has good taste in movies, then it's actually a very good movie that I would definitely recommend if you're into, like, science... Like, what's the word? Like, theoretical science, I guess? Or theoretical science futures. That's what it is. If you're into theoretical science futures and that type of, like, media, exploring that, then this is definitely the movie that I would recommend to you. This movie has a bunch of, like, really well-known and, like, really good actors, but, like, the thing I would actually recommend this movie for is its set design. Like, it has that near-future science-y aesthetic going for it. I'm just like... Ooh, yes, give me that science intrigue, interiors and exteriors. That's what I want in a building. I want every building I'm in to look like it's not quite from this year, that it's from some time in the distant future where we get really funky with our architecture. I'm normally pretty good at, like, remembering what happens in a movie, even if I've only, like, seen it once, but somehow there's a twist at the end of this movie that I completely forgot about. So when it happened, I was like, wait a second! I should have known that that was coming, so... I don't know what to say about that. It's just, I feel stupid, and now I want to rewatch the movie again so I can actually have the rewatch experience of, oh, now that I know everything about the movie, let me re-experience it with new eyes instead of basically rewatching it as if I'd never seen it. I was so close to not crying or getting emotional at this movie, and then, like, in the last 2 minutes, it just... Ugh. So my Danganronpa obsession is a very real and constant thing in my life, and it has gotten to the point where it has infected my music listening habits. My music taste has now turned into, does this song remind me of a Danganronpa character? Then yes, I listen to it and like it. And I'm not mad about it, because it made me listen to a bunch of songs I'd never listened to before, but also, like, they're the only playlists I listen to. I've made a bunch of other playlists, and I haven't listened to those in months, because I only listen to this ever-expanding list of Danganronpa tangential playlists that I've created. This has become my one defining personality trait, and I don't know if I'm okay with that, but I also don't know how to stop it from happening. So if you have any advice, I would gladly accept it, because I definitely need help. I haven't seen or played much of Persona 5, but like what I've seen of it, I know I'd love it, so I plan on watching someone play it very soon, but like, I haven't started doing that yet, but I plan to do it. But anyway, this song is a cover by the voices of Joker and Akechi, and show tunes. It's so good. I never thought that this would be a thing, that you'd combine those two things and they would work, but they do. My brother and I would just sing parts of this song aggressively at each other, and so much fun. Great song. I would recommend you listen to it even if you don't really listen to show tunes and you've never watched or played Persona 5. I still think it is a great performance and a great song. I reread this book on audiobook for the first time. The first time I read it, I just read it physical book, and I like it now somehow even more than I did when I first read it, and that's not necessarily me saying that like, oh, I thought it was perfect from the beginning and now I think it's even better. It's more like, I thought it was okay and I enjoyed it, but now I've found like more reasons to enjoy it, and things I was like tentative on, I'm now like, yeah, no, I like that. I think probably it has to do with the audiobook like character voice performances, because those are very good, because every single character gets a different like individual voice actor to voice them, which is something I wish more books would do. Like, I wish more books would be written in this like interesting format so that they could have more books do the everyone gets their own voice actor, because I love that. So I've always liked Aiden and Katie, and like I love Aiden. Like, Aiden's one of my like favorite fictional characters, kind of a thing. So like, big fan of that malicious artificial intelligence. But I've also always appreciated Katie, but this time I ended up appreciating Ezra, and I actually like cared about and was interested in his side of the plot, because normally the first time I read it I was like, I only care about Aiden and Katie and I don't care about Ezra. Who cares about Ezra? But this time I'm like, no, I'm interested in his parts of the book. So I think I like every single character in this book. I don't think there was any characters where I was like, yep, still don't like them, or didn't like them in the first place, or whatever, like, don't like them now, liked them before. So it has a very good, this book has a very good cast. The next book doesn't, but we're not gonna ever talk about that book in these videos because I don't like it. If you haven't played and completed Trigger Happy Havoc, then I would suggest that you skip to this timestamp, because I'm about to like loosely spoil parts of it. So if you want to be spoiler free and you want to end up playing that game at some point, I would skip ahead to the next book I'm going to talk about. But if you have played the game, or if you don't plan on ever playing the game and you want to know what I thought about this book, then keep watching. After my brother and I finished playing Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, we unlocked this book, and we decided that we wanted to read it together, so like we would voice all of the characters in the story with our character voices from Trigger Happy Havoc, but I also ended up voicing Mukuro and the narration, because Mukuro technically doesn't have a voice in Trigger Happy Havoc, so we decided to give it to someone, and so that was me. And also I'm the narration, because I also read green text in all of the games, so narration and green text are basically the same thing. So the premise of this book is, what if Makoto got a button from the Mono Mono machine that started giving him back his memories once he pressed it? And also, what if, because of this, we have a chain event that leads to Mukuro not dying by Monokuma's floor spikes? And this book, since you don't really see Mukuro all that much at all in Trigger Happy Havoc, this is like the most we get of Mukuro. And it made me fall in love with her. She's like one of my favorite Danganronpa characters now. I mean, she's not like at the top, because there's like a lot of people that outrank her simply because they're actually fully in a game, but like, if you needed me to list characters who I love in Danganronpa, she would now be one of them, because now I've learned how cool she is. I had such a fun time reading this. Like, not only were we reading it, like, with our character voices, so, like, that made it fun, but also, like, the way it's formatted within the game is really cool because they have the text on, like, the semi-transparent, like, square, rectangle, whatever, and behind it is, like, an image from the game that's, like, the background, the location that they're in, which really helps me be able to picture, like, where we are. Because if it was just words on a page, I would be like, yeah, I think I remember what that place looks like, but then probably would play the game again and be like, that's not what the nurse's office looks like at all. So, it was very nice, the way that they didn't just go like, here's a book in your video game, there's nothing, it's just words. It's like they actually put stuff into it. Also, the title screen for the book, it plays New World Order, and that's, like, the most, like, hype intro to reading this book every time we would sit down to read it that, like, could have ever existed. So, that's a big A+ for me in the category of really, really hype reading experiences. There was a point really early on in this book where I thought that, like, that might be where the book ends, and, like, the amount of despair that I felt in that moment, that there's a possibility that the book was over, is just, like, immeasurable. And I can't, even though I said, like, there's spoilers here, I'm not gonna actually spoil anything. But, like, there was a point where I was, like, 95% convinced the book was over. And I was just like, would they do that? They didn't. There was a ton of book left, but, like, if that's where it had ended, I would have been like, this is a literary masterpiece. No one has ever gone that hard before in a piece of fiction. So, yes. A+ book. Recommend. It's not as despair-inducing as I thought it was for a bit there, but, like, it's still really good. But you really do have to enjoy the game to enjoy this book. If you're, like, kind of, like, indifferent on, like, the whole, like, Danganronpa vibes, then, like, yeah, you're not gonna like this. But, like, if you really like the kind of more, like, crazier side of the Danganronpa games and, like, media, then this is the thing that you'd want to read. But if you're like, no, I only like the serious, like, having to be like, sure that happened, then, like, maybe don't read this. But, like, maybe read it anyway. Maybe this will change your mind. Maybe you'll fall in love with Mukuro Ikusaba. Who knows? Get back to me on it after you've read it and tell me how you feel. So Ashley from A Dash of Ash mentioned this book in a semi-recent book shopping video of hers, and as soon as I saw the title and the cover and the synopsis and everything, I was just like, I have to read this book as soon as possible. I borrowed the audiobook from Libby, and now this book is in the running for my favorite book I've read in 2021. And that's, like, some steep competition. There's only, like, three things that are up against each other currently, in this current moment. But, like, they're all, like, the best books ever. So, I don't know which book I'm gonna end up saying is my favorite book. But, like, this is a good one. And it's the most recent one I've read that's on that list. So, it might just end up winning purely because of I read it most recently. Of course, there's still more time left in the year, so I might read a whole nother book, but, like, I'm not good at reading books, so it probably won't happen. This will probably be my favorite book of the year, and it definitely deserves that title. This is a portal fantasy meets historical fiction about the Mozart children, and it is inspired by an imaginary world they created when they were siblings called the Kingdom of Back. This book reminds me so much of Mozart's music, and, like, it's simple, yet it's complex. It's accessible, but it's still impressive. And there's this, like, unspoken magic to it. I sound like I'm going crazy, but just humor me and believe me that both of these things apply to Mozart's music and to this book. This story focuses on the relationship between the two Mozart siblings, and, like, it just made me feel all warm inside because, like, it's about having a little brother. And, like, I have a little brother. this is little brother, and I love little brother very much, and I would do anything for little brother. I really like Nannerl because we're very similar in certain aspects, but like my favorite character out of everyone is 100% Hyacinth. Every single time he showed up in the book, I was just grinning. I was like, he's back again. And I ended up picturing him, although like they do describe him pretty well in the book. In my brain, I was like, he is a mix in my head of what I decided I want him to look like. Is he ended up being a mix of Howl from Howl's Moving Castle and Venti from Genshin Impact. And ever since I pictured that in my head, that's the only thing I think about. I don't picture him any other way. So if you wonder what I think that Hyacinth looks like, it's a mix of these two characters. This book apparently came out last year, which like makes no sense to me because I've heard literally no one talking about it, even though it's like really good and it's by a pretty popular author. So this is me saying, hey, if no one else is going to tell you to read it, I'm going to tell you to read it. Go read this book. I love Nagito so much. He's such an interesting character, and I also just think he's fun. But this manga is from his perspective, which makes the concept of it like 100 times better than if it was just the manga for just the main game. And the first volume, which is the only one I've read so far because I only own the first volume, it kind of is like interesting that it's from his perspective, but like we haven't really gotten to the parts of the game yet in the plot where I'm like, I need his perspective in this. So eventually I'll read volume 2 and 3. And I lent this book to my brother so he could read it, and now he hates Nagito even more than he already did, so my work here is done. So I'm still playing this game, and I just kind of wanted to update to be like, hey, I'm still in the underworld, and I still think Thanatos is like the best. The absolute best. Megara was the first person to give me a chthonic companion, but now that I have Thanatos' chthonic companion, guess what I'm holding on to until the day that I die? And I may not be making progress in the category of multiple successful escape attempts, but like, if you are former lovers, Zagreus is 100% guaranteed to eventually bring you back together, because I'm slowly just befriending everyone I meet, and basically my goal right now is like, I don't care about escaping anymore. I mean, I do, but I need to make sure everyone in the underworld is happy. That is my, like, one of my 2 goals in life. Leave, but also stay, so I can make sure that everyone falls in love with each other again. Or if you're just people, you don't have to be lovers even, you can just be people who haven't seen each other in a bit and kind of need to talk to each other. Talk to each other. Zagreus, the ultimate counselor. I finally started being able to fish in this game, and it's just my favorite thing to do. I'm not good at it because I have, like, my finger is just like, I have to press the button before it's time to reel in the fish a lot of the time, which is the biggest disappointment I've ever experienced in my life. But like, I love fishing when I actually am successful at it. And every time I enter an area, I'm just like, can I fish? And if I can't, I get sad. So it's the best fishing simulator of the year. Oh, and I've never said this, but Hermes is great. I really like Hermes a lot. I wish you could, like, talk to him more, but, like, he's fun. I like him. Big approval for Hermes in this game. I now have bonds with Charon and Hermes, and, like, the little art for everyone's bonds once you get a bond with them is so cute. I love it so much. But also, Artemis, the first bond I ever received, is the best. No one can beat her out, but like, Charon and Ares also have really, really cute bond images, and now I'm like, have to get bonds with everyone else, but like, this is a really long game, and so I have a feeling it's gonna take me a while. If it took me this long to get anything other than Artemis's, then it's gonna take me forever to get the rest of the characters. Unfortunately. I finally escaped for the first time, and also the only time, and the irony of the fact that I escaped on Father's Day does not escape me. I think it's the funniest thing. And also, if that's the only day I ever escape, it'll probably be even funnier. It probably won't be funny. Because that means, wow, I'm bad at this game. But I turned on God mode, so hopefully that makes me able to escape more often, because the game kind of requires me to do this. That's kind of the whole point of the game, so if I can only escape one time successfully and never again, that'll be kind of disappointing to say the least. So I finally finished playing the Black Eagles route, and all I really have to say without giving spoilers is that I liked it, but the ending was like kind of abrupt. So I really would have liked if they just had like 2 more chapters. But like what's actually in the game for that route is good. I really like all that, but kind of needed like a tiny bit more of the actual in-game story. But what I got was good. I mean, if nothing else, I have Yuri now, so like that makes everything better. Something that I need to put out into the universe is the fact that I love Ash. Ash is great. Every single time I've played this game, I've recruited Ash as soon as I can, and I've gotten all of his support scenes with Byleth, and I haven't romanced him ever, because, you know, Claude and Yuri, but like, he's always been an option for my S-rank scene, and he's just, he makes me so happy, and this is 100% constantly here, now, and forever an Ash appreciation space. I finally started doing the Blue Lions route, but I really have only gotten like 3 chapters in. I don't even know. I like have barely touched that route at all, because a certain other game franchise has kind of taken up all of my free time. I thought I was obsessed with this game franchise over the winter, but boy oh boy am I way, way more obsessed with it now. I finally finished watching the Game Grumps play Trigger Happy Havoc, and then recently, like even more recently, my brother and I started actually playing it ourselves, and like, I've said this before about other games, but like, this game is another game where when you play it for yourself after having seen it, the experience is so different, like actually getting to play the game and voice the characters and like walk around the world. Like, I know I enjoyed this game just by watching it, but like actually playing it, I'm just like, I have so much more respect and adoration for this game and the characters that I was like, oh, you kind of just exist. Now getting to actually like talk to them and like do free time events with them, I'm just like, I love this game now. It was just like, normally I'm just like, oh yeah, no, 2 and V3 are the ones where I'm like, they're great and 1's okay. And I'm like, nope, every single game in the franchise is equally as great as the other ones, just for different reasons. But I now have like a heightened appreciation for 1, and also for its characters. I keep just repeating myself, but I like the characters a lot more, and like, because I hadn't seen a bunch of people's free time events, and I still haven't. But, like, like, I can't wait to do everyone's free time events. I just love the characters in this game so much now, and I'm just so happy I'm actually playing it, because I'm having so much fun with that. So I kind of mentioned this when I talked about Danganronpa If earlier, but my brother and I played too, and we did this like way before we started playing Trigger Happy Havoc, so like the timeline of me talking about these games is not the order we played it in. It goes 2, and then V3, and then Trigger Happy Havoc, but like, humor me, I'm doing them in this order because it makes more sense. But we, back in like spring, started playing 2 together, and we voiced all the characters, and then after that we read Danganronpa If, and then after that we tried to start playing the free time events, and like we did them for the most part, or like not the free time events, the like the bonus game stuff, free time events, yeah, we did everyone's free time events in the bonus game, but we didn't complete the date stuff. We only ended up doing the like fully completing dates with Chiaki and Fuyuhiko and Nagito and Gundam, because right after we did that, V3 went on sale, so guess what game we played together next? We ended up playing V3 without the character audio and just voicing everything, even the trials, like all by ourselves. And that reasoning for me wanting to do that was when I first watched people playing the game, they also did that and they just voiced all the characters, and even during the trials. So I was like, I don't want to hear the character voices because in my head, the character voices are what these people voiced them as. So I was like, let's just play it the way they did it so we can come up with the voices, because I was like, I know I'm not gonna I'm gonna get so thrown by these character voices. So my brother and I ended up voicing every single character even during the trials, and that was sometimes a lot to like manage and deal with, but we had a lot of fun. The only problem being it took us 100 hours to complete this game, which is just a lot of time when it took me like, I was playing this game by myself, but it took me like 50 hours to complete. Two, I think. So like, I was playing by myself, so it's gonna take a little longer when you play a game with someone else, but like, it took us 100 hours to play V3, and I'm just, it's like one of my most played games on Steam now because of that. We spent so much time playing that game. It took us longer to play V3 than it took me to play the entirety of the Golden Deer route in Fire Emblem. And I just think that's a little insane. There were so many times when playing this game that I would like catch a character line that like was very ironic or like would foreshadow something that happens later. And there's so many times where I'm just like, oh no, don't say that, you're gonna make me sad, or like, oh no, that's unfortunate you would say that. This game gives me so many emotions constantly, all the time. And I'm like, I like it, but I'm also like, could I just be happy without having to think about something that's gonna happen later? But no. This game just wants me to be miserable. Nobody cares about this, but I'm gonna share it here anyway. But Maki Harukawa is my highest kin from the entire franchise, and Kaito Momoda is like 100% a comfort character for me. Like, I don't know why, I don't know how it happened, but like, Kaito Momoda just makes me so happy. I don't know why. It just happened, and now I'm kind of stuck like this. But like, I'm not mad. I don't know. I don't know what to say. This is embarrassing. After we finished the main game, we 100%ed Dang and Salmon Team. So like, we did all of the free time events with people, we did all of the date events with people, and we did all of the Love Hotel events with people. And then we started the Ultimate Talent Development Plan, but then we stopped because E3 happened and they announced Danganronpa S. So we didn't want to burn ourselves out on the gameplay loop before the game even had a chance to release. But I liked what we played of the Ultimate Talent Development Plan. I just didn't want to be like, oh, there's no point in buying S because we 100%ed Ultimate Talent Development Plan in V3. So, very excited about S. And hopefully it'll be good. If it is, though, guess what I'll be talking about for my winter favorites. I've had this game in my Steam wishlist for a while now, and since it was free, I like finally just decided like, hey, I should just download it because like, why not? And then I started playing it, and now I'm like, I really like it. I really should have played it sooner. I'm not very good at it, but like, I still really enjoy playing it. It's a cute pixel RPG where you are going through the afterlife and you're trying to search for your little brother because he's gone. You can't find him. And since I haven't really gone more than like an hour into the game, I like really don't know like how it resolves or like what actually happens or how long the game is. But like, it's really cute and it's just a really feel-good game. All the sound effects and the music are just really fun. And like, it's free! this game is free, so like there's nothing stopping you from trying it out. Like you don't have to play it for very long, but like at least try it out because it's just cute. There's just a bunch of little ghost spirits around, and then you just go around with your little scythe and your purple hoodie, and you just help them move on to the afterlife with RPG mechanics, where you fight them until they die. You know, feel good things. It's really cute, I swear. But yeah, Steam. Not buy it on Steam. It's free. Go onto Steam, go download the game, and if you ever just want to have just a fun time, just zoning out with cute little ghosties, then this game is one that I would highly recommend you try and play. This is another free game that I had on my Steam, like, wishlist library that I hadn't touched yet and then just suddenly decided to start playing it. And it's the demo for the game, but the game's supposed to come out in 2022, and it's now, like, one of my most anticipated games in, like, literally forever. Like, I am so ready to play this game when it comes out. This demo is a sort of prologue to the main game, and it's set in rural Indonesia in the 90s, and it focuses on these two characters who are writing a book together, and just, I love their dynamic. They're so much fun. I just want more of them, so I hope that there's more of them in the actual game. But the music and the pixel art style is just so pleasing to look at, especially the way, I don't know why, but the way the characters move, like the character you control, the way, like, they animated his, like, moving cycle, I just find it really satisfying. I just really like how that is. So, like, 10 out of 10 for the way this game looks and feels, at least in the demo. Honestly, though, the biggest selling point is the fact that you can pet every single cat in this game. I took, like, forever to get into this game, but, like, I'm so glad I finally did, because the amount of serotonin I get from just, like, existing in the world is just it's such a satisfying game to just exist in. The music is so good. I just love just the environments are so nice. Like, I like like, being in the cities, but also, like, just, like, the best thing to do is just climb up a rock face, and then you look up at the sky and there's stars out and the pretty music is playing, and I'm just like, full of serotonin. It's such a feel-good game for me, and I'm so glad that I finally actually sat down and started playing it. Currently, I only have Sucrose and Barbara as, like, bonus team members that aren't part of your, like, main team, because I'm free to play, and I'm not spending any money on this game, which means I'm not pulling any of the characters I'd actually want to add to my team, but, like, it's fine, because I actually really enjoy playing as Lisa. So, like, I don't need other characters, but, like, I really want some of them. So far, I really probably am, like, really far behind in the game, so I haven't met a ton of characters, but, like, Diluc and Child and Zhao are, like, pretty cool. I've, like, hardly talked to Child or Zhao, so, like, I don't really know, like, a lot of, like, their plot at all, but, like, I've spent some time with Diluc, and I think he's really fun. Action Diluc is, like, the best Diluc, but I think I'll like Child and Zhao, because, like, when they were introduced, I literally was just like, I'm doomed, so I have a feeling I'm gonna like them. But also, there's so many other characters that I know exist that I just haven't met yet in-game, where I'm just like, am I just gonna slowly amass, like, a giant list of just, like, everyone's my favorite character? I mean, probably that is what's going to happen. But of course, none of these characters are ever going to be able to compare to my favorite character in the entire game, which is Venti the Bard. He is my favorite character, like, ever. I love Venti so much. I love his character design. I love his voice. I love the stuff he does in the plot. It's just, Venti is my favorite, by far. Everyone else is just nowhere near him. I don't think anyone will outrank him or get close. Venti the Bard. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. 12 out of 10. It can just keep going. 100 out of 10. Venti the Bard, 100 out of 10. Perfect character. I love him so much. And, like, he's not just funny, he's also serious sometimes. And I'm like, I love Venti, like, too much. It's kind of a problem if you couldn't tell. It's truly head empty only Venti hours out here. And, like, I'm not mad about that. I ended up finding out about this game because it was getting a lot of hype in, like, the Danganronpa community, because people were saying, like, it's kind of similar. And yes it is and yes it isn't, but I am very glad that I actually started playing it, because it's incredible, and it's also free. Okay, so this is a killing game similar to Danganronpa. It's about, like, trust and intrigue, and I would recommend it to fans of V3 for, like, the character arcs and, like, relationships and plots, and then fans of Zero Escape 999 if you really liked the intrigue part of that game, and also the complex situation. I do have to give a warning about this game, though, because it has light to severe horror elements in it, and, like, most of the time it is spending in, like, the light to moderate horror, but, like, there are some severe things. Like, there's some things where I would say you should probably check out the trigger warnings on the download page before actually playing it, because, like, if you're not okay with, like, blood or gore, or, like, grief and trauma are, like, things that you, like, don't want to play a game about, then, like, I really wouldn't play this game. But, like, check out the download page and look at the list of trigger warnings, because this game is, like, so much more dark at times than Danganronpa, so, like, you might think you know what you're getting into, but, like, it's a lot darker than the games that I would say are similar-ish to it. Before I talk about my favorite stuff from this game, I do want to say that I am playing on the logic route, so that'll kind of be obvious in, like, the things that I enjoy the most about this game, but I did just want to put that disclaimer out there of, I'm playing the logic route, so that's my perspective on the way the game is going for me. But I won't spoil anything. My favorite characters are 100% So and Joe. And So is because he has, like, legit the best sprites in the entire game, and also because he's just a super interesting character. And then Joe because he's just, in general, just the best. I just love Joe. But I do have to give an honorable mention to Sarah because, like, yay girl protagonist. And also Rio Ranger, because I just like his design, like, way too much. I don't know why, but, like, I just think he has an incredible design, and I also think he's, like, interesting and fun as well. But, ooh, his character design is just, I don't know why, but I just really, really like his character design. He would definitely be my favorite character design from the whole game. I don't really know where to put this, but I feel I have to share this information with someone. So there's a character in the game who you get to, like, name, and I ended up naming them Butt Boy. And I feel that I, like, ruined the dramatic experience that I was meant to have because I named them Butt Boy. But, like, I don't regret my actions, and I would probably do it again, but, like, I probably shouldn't have done it in the first place. I know I never shut up about games having great music and sound effects, but, like, this game has great music and sound effects, and, like, I don't know really how to explain how the music sounds, but, like, my really, really inaccurate explanation of it is that it reminds me of a mix of Danganronpa music, 999 music, and Deltarune music, but, like, the music does not sound like any of those musics. I, like, don't know why that's what I'm, like, choosing to describe it as, but, like, it's very good music. It's very wholly its own thing. But also, like, if you like 999 and Danganronpa and Deltarune music, you might like this music. I'm sure someone else could very accurately describe what this music is similar to, but I just have been struggling. So, like, if you can somehow imagine what those three games combined's music would sound like, maybe it would sound like this. Honestly, if you're just a fan of good video game music, I think you'll appreciate this music, because it's genuinely, like, good video game music. This game messed me up at certain points. Like, it didn't necessarily make me, like, sob, kind of get emotional, but, like, it more so just made me go, like, numb and shaky. And, like, to a point where, like, certain parts of the game happened, and I was like, I physically don't know if I can continue, like, pressing the buttons I need to, like, move the text boxes along. Like, that's how, like, unable. I could not physically play the game anymore for a bit. So, like, I didn't cry because my emotions just kind of shut off. And, like, it's such a good game. It's such a good experience. You really should play it because it's free. This game is free, and I don't know why it's free, because it's so much better than any free game I've, like, ever played. And I really wish that the creator was making more money off of people playing this game. But, like, I'm also glad it's free, because that means I can play it for free. Back when this game came out, I ended up watching the Game Grumps play it, and I really enjoyed it back then, but I only ever played it for myself for the first time now. And, like, I'm really glad that I did, because I really, really enjoyed my time in the literature club. Like, probably more than I was expecting to. I really, really was expecting to just be like, oh, it'll just be fun, whatever, I'll play it because it's free. And so, like, why not actually play it myself? But, like, I love this game now. It means a lot to me. I care so much about, like, every single one of the girls, and I just want them all to be happy. I just really like hanging out with people in a literature club and talking about poetry, and just... My playthrough very quickly turned into the wonderfully awkward tale of Emily attempting to write poetry that Natsuki will like, and it only ever going moderately well. Yes, I did try to impress Natsuki, but, like, Monica is my favorite character 100%, and for some reason, this very specific sprite of her is my favorite sprite. I don't know why, it just is. Literally, like, days after I finished playing this game, they announced DDLC Plus, and, like, I'm waiting to play it because I don't want to burn out on playing this game, just all of it, all the time, but, like, I want that extra content so bad. So, like, eventually I'm gonna play the game, but just, like, not yet. But I'm really hyped for it when it's going to happen. If you got to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I would love to hear you tell me in the comments about anything you've liked over the past 6 months, year, 5 years, anything you've liked in the span of your existence. I would love to hear about those things in the comments, so share with me and we can talk about them. And if you are gonna get into any of my things I recommended, I would love to hear what you think of them once you start playing them or watching them or whatever. So, hopefully we can just share things that we enjoy, because that's all I ever aspire to do, is just share things I enjoy with people. So, hope you liked the video, and I will see you soon with a video that is absolutely not this video. So, I'll see you next week. Bye!